Yo, what's going on? Hey, welcome to Deep Third. I'm DP.
And I'm Jarrell, aka Breeze.
And this your boy Fade. Thank you all for tuning in again this week.
Well, I'd like to, you know, say that I appreciate everybody. You don't know what this means just to, be able to get on with a bunch of friends and, just be able to talk about sports. It's wild just thinking, some weeks back, we weren't sure what we were going to have as far as sports. But you know what? It's been amazing as a sports fan to see something live. It's different. But again, we appreciate all y'all for tuning in, being able to watch this live. Even for those who catch it after the live show, we just appreciate all the views, all the comments, any questions you guys have for us. Don't hesitate and please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so that you guys get that ring whenever we go live. We just appreciate y'all.
Hey, so man, hey, listen, we have a new segment for you guys that come on live. Go ahead, Fade, tell them about it.
So this segment is it's the last part of the show where it's called Deep Thought. And in this segment, this is where we will answer your guys' questions, comments. We can't promise to get to everybody, but please put in your questions, put in your comments, and we will definitely try our best to get to you.
Yeah, let's go, baby. Hey, so listen, let's go ahead and start this thing off right. Let's go, baby. Hey, so our first question, man. Hey, listen, I'm so excited to hear what these cats about to say, man, because I already know we're gonna be on two ends of the spectrum. So I'm ready. I'm pumped to hear what they about to say. So our first question, man. This is going to Fade first. Actually, no, I'm sorry, Jarrell. You go first. All right, this is Jarrell first. Um, what college player, doesn't matter when, it could be in back in 2005 or 1982, but what player would you want to play college football with, and why?
Mm. This was super tough. I mean, you just go through history and I mean, it's amazing. I think at the end of the day, um, I don't know if this is going to be super popular or just, low key. Um, but I think I would want to play with Vince Young. Um,
Hmm.
I
That's a good
don't
one.
I don't I don't know, man. It was something about him in college with the swagger that he had. Just seeing him, win that championship over a stacked USC. Um, and at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not a, huge Texas fan, but I love the Texas colors. I love that icy white, that burnt orange, um, that longhorn. It's just something about that grit. Um, so I think I would definitely go with Vince Young. I think he had at least in college, I think he had leadership. Um, he could inspire people. I think he was a spectacular athlete that when allowed to play the way that he could play, I think he was fantastic. So I think for me, I got to go money down, Vince Young with the stack team.
Okay. That's a good pick. Vince Young. I didn't even think of Vince Young. I like that. That 4th and 5. Whoo, bruh. Talk
Money.
about pressure situation. Man, that's a good one. So my pick. All right, y'all. I got a video in mind. Okay, this video right here is why I want to play with this man. So I'm gonna just bear with me. Let me present this. Let me share this with y'all. Now watch this, y'all. Watch this stream. This is why I want to play with this man.
Let's go, get in here! Let's go! Get in here right now! Get in here! Hey, we got 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! 30 minutes! 30 minutes for the rest of our lives! That's how we're bad in the first half. It ain't happening. We get the ball. I promise you one thing. We're going to hit somebody and we're taking down the field for a touchdown. I guarantee you that.
Guaranteed.
Look at me.
Look at him.
Let's go.
We got 30 minutes
Let's go.
for the rest of our lives.
For the rest of our lives.
Let's go.
Let's go. Lock arms. Hey, hey, we a team. Hey, lock arms.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Right there.
Hey, that's a good one, Fade. Tebow. I would want to play for Tebow. That's a
But
good one.
that video right there gets me hyped, bro. I would love to have played with this man. His passion, devout Christian. Lord knows I ain't perfect, but man, this man is inspirational. Everything about him was just so inspirational. Like the fact that, what was it? He got in the news and stuff because he was a virgin and he wanted to save himself until marriage. And you had all these women throwing it. Literally, he could have had any pick, right, of women. But he stayed devoted to his Christianity and everything like that. And then you just see that passion on the field. This man led a comeback, right? And then you got his other famous speech where they had lost. They had lost the game, and then after the game, he said, "Yo, that's my bad. I promise you, you're not going to see somebody with more effort than me," and all of that. That whole speech. So this man would just put things on his back and take it to the next level. Tim Tebow never gave up, no matter the situation. And to me, you could even take it to the pros. You had everybody telling him, "Yo, you should do this. Be a fullback. Be a running back." All this stuff. But he didn't care. He said, "Yo, I want to be a quarterback. This is me." Things didn't work out, but still, this man was devoted to everything that he put his mind to. And I love, love, love his passion. Just love that passion. So my pick is who I want to play with in college is Tim Tebow all day.
Hey Dante, before you go, I
Go ahead.
mean, for Tim Tebow, it worked out against them Squealers, the Pittsburgh Squealers in that playoff game.
Yeah.
Hey man, drop the mic.
True that.
Yo, he did torch the defensive backs when they were playing that game. It was nice to see, especially living in Pittsburgh at the time, and him being from Florida too. So that it was just icing on the cake. Oh man, so who would I like to play? Man, listen, I would like to play with myself. You feel me? You feel you? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But nah, man, like I was going through my head, like, man, who would I want to play with? Who would I like to play with? And I will pull up the video, but I can't. But the person I would want to play with, man, is, especially because I'm a defensive guy, is Ray Lewis. Like, I'm not a U fan.
Yep.
I'm a Florida State. You know, I wanted to pick Dion, but I just feel like Ray Lewis, man. Like, you listen to his story on like how he got there. He was what, undersized, and but he came in and he said he was going to be the best linebacker to ever play at Miami, and arguably he probably is the best linebacker to ever play uh, for the Miami Hurricanes. Um, but just his swag, bro, like he was a beast, man, a beast. Like, even though he had Warren Sapp and in front of him and some other cast that was nice, but that dude there is a monster, bro. Like, I would love to play with him just to hear, what gets him going and how he gets people going around him, how he motivates. And then fast forward to when he gets to the pros, then you just even see it even more. But I just love how he played because he kind of reminded me of myself because I was always undersized. Always, I was never the fastest, never the quickest, never the strongest, but that ambition and that drive to want to be the best despite whatever is coming against you, and I just love that. And to see how he dominated when he was there, and to see how he was able to help his team get to you know championships, and I know they lost that one when they played against, who was it? When Penn State. I forget who it was. They was playing in the Orange Bowl, and they lost. But he was a beast, man. That's who I would want to play with, Ray Lewis.
That's a good
All
one.
right. So going to the next question, man. This one here, we about to get real deep, man. So it's gonna be two part. It's gonna be a two-part question. All right. So I want you to answer the first one and then answer the second one. I just want you guys a little bit to talk about. So the first question is, talk about the impact coaches have on athletes. So I want you guys to talk about that. Then the next question after that will be, what coach would you want to play for? Doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, baseball, doesn't matter the sport, doesn't matter what level, whether it's high school, college, or pros. So the first question is, what's the impact? How do coaches impact the kids or the athletes? And then the second question is, who would you want to play underneath? Go ahead, Faye. You can go first since Jarrell went first
Um,
last time.
so with the first question, the coach's impact. So I'll speak from this, and you guys can go a little bit deeper than me. Um, but I'm gonna speak kind of from personal experience, where I feel like the coach's impact is huge on players, from the fact that a coach can, pretty much control your career, whether you're seeing playing time or whether he's using your skill set in the right way. And so I say that, like, speaking from our high school coach. So we had pretty big linemen, uh, really fast running backs, and everything like that. But our coach would always want to run the wing T, and just for what we had, the wing T wasn't that successful, because to me the players, while good, it's something to become skilled at reading when to pull the ball away, when to give it to the running back, and things of that nature. But man, when you had a line like we had that would just blow people off the ball, when we did run the I formation, we would just blow people off the ball, and he would never stick with it. So I believe a lot of times that stunted our offense. Like, I remember our junior year, our defense was the best in the state. Oh my gosh. Like I say, Jarrell, our defense, like, all offense had to score was maybe 14 points, and we'd win game. Dead serious. Our defense was that good, but our coach would never adjust the offense to succeed. So that impact was huge on the players and huge for the team for not doing, what was right. So when you have, so now to lead into my next answer, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I swear I am not a fan of them. Bill Belichick. Bill
You a
Belichick.
Patriot fan?
No, listen, listen, listen. Hear me, because Belichick, I think, as a football coach, he knows you better than you know yourself as a player. He, like, and I feel, you know, let's say I could probably go out there and he could probably get me ready and put me in a position to succeed. I may not
Yep.
be on the field all the time, but he say, okay, you're good at this. I see that. So let me put you here, and this is what's going to benefit. And that's why I would, because of what I had in high school, who didn't adjust anything. It was his way, and this is the way we're going. So screw everybody else. To a coach who's like, if I'm beating you with this is what we're doing. Oh, you stop that? Well, guess what? I got another plan. We're gonna go ahead and do that. Like, the adjustments. So yeah, Bill Belichick, man.
Whew. Mm. Fabe, I feel you, man. I feel you. Um, the impact of coaching, in my opinion, is huge. Um, you know, you're basically handing a portion of your life over to a person, whether
Mm,
it's little league, whether it's high school, whether it's college. or whether it's pros. Um, because in actuality, as an athlete, we're we're supposed to do what we're being told. And, when a coach doesn't have a person's best interests, that oftentimes hurts them. But when you look at coaches and coaching, um, the impact is shown in the growth, um, as a person and as a player. Um, when I played, I can't say that I always had the best coaches. I can say that a lot of my coaches did the best they could with what they wanted to have knowledge of, but many of them and many coaches don't want to go out of their way because coaching is very difficult.
Yeah.
Um, as a coach myself, you got to deal with, if you're in college, you got to deal with 80 some different kids and the psyche of each kid. You got to get to know them. As an NFL coach or as a pro coach, period. I think it becomes a little bit easier, but you just saw a big trade happen where Jamal Adams just got traded after talking about his coach and his leadership. A lot of players don't. Now, when you're in college and when you're in high school, you don't have that ability. I live in this area and this is where I have to go. But this is where I think coaching is such a big part of life. So if I'm in high school and, you know, I'm being coached, yeah, X's and O's is great. You can know everything. But do you know how to make me a better person?
Mm.
Are you a man of integrity?
Mm.
I'm not saying that you tell me that I'm going to play, that means that I'm going to play, but are you a person that holds on to their word?
Mm.
Um, are you loyal? Do you care? Not just about the money that you're making, not just about, the job itself, but do you truly care for each and every person and individual that is under you? I know that when I started coaching, that was one of the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to promote a lot of those young kids, a lot of those kids that people don't think can be good. Because I think if you as a coach put belief in a child, in a kid, in a man, you don't know what that can manifest into. But again, we cast people off. So I think, it's huge, the impact of what coaching has on a player. And again, we're not talking about just the current, we're talking about future. You can tear a kid down to the point where his life may be impacted because of this.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about on the field, I'm talking about off the field. And those are the things that maybe not all coaches are aware. It's a tremendous responsibility to be called a coach. And the elite coaches, I think they have those. Um, I just called the Pittsburgh Squealers, but I think Mike Tomlin has a pretty good relationship with the majority of his players. The majority of his players understand him and understand where he's coming from. Um, but you look at these coaches in college where, they get fired here, they get fired here, they get fired here, because they lost the locker room. And I believe that if you break down in an area that players can see, that's where the problem comes in because now they see that flaw. So if you're giving fluff, if you're just blowing smoke, it ain't gonna happen. Nick Saban has been at Alabama for Lord knows how long, and he gets the maximum out of his players.
Yeah.
Um, I am going to transition, but I'm not going to go with Nick Saban. I, like Fabe, am going to go with Bill Belichick. And my reasoning for Bill Belichick is not just the 6 Super Bowls, not just the 20 seasons, but looking at Bill Belichick, the person. He's what I believe a coach is. He doesn't say too much to the media. He keeps everything under wraps, everything in house. And from everything that we hear, with how he treated Tom Brady, which is the reason why Tom Brady wanted out, he doesn't treat anybody like a superstar.
Yeah.
You make a mistake, I'm going to blow you up because of it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I may lose a game for you. I know they say one play doesn't lose a game. I may make that bad play. When we go to that press conference, more than likely he's going to say, we didn't play good enough. If there's issues going on, if there's locker room issues or issues in house, they're going to stay in house. He doesn't air dirty laundry.
Yeah.
That's a problem that I believe that a lot of coaches have. When I look at Bill Belichick and I see what he does off the field, now let's go to on the field. Yes, 6 Super Bowls, right? In what, 6 Super Bowls in 9 opportunities? Um, Most 10-win season, has one with Matt Castle. Um, Obviously, Tom Brady. But you look at Tom Brady, a 6 round draft pick. But what did they do when they first brought him in? Tom Brady was a game manager. Did they
Yep.
win those first Super Bowls by a ton of points because of Tom Brady? No, they won because they had a stout defense and a kicker.
Yeah.
That is how they won. Bill Belichick harps on special teams. What does that go to? The quality of the small, little tiny details. There's a lot of teams, there's a lot of coaches that don't care much about special teams. Bill Belichick said, no, 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 no. We're going to focus and hone in on that because that can win you a game, lose you a game, or change momentum in a game.
Oh yeah.
So we're talking about the difference between good and the difference between great. I also think the way Bill Belichick has done it, he hasn't changed much in his philosophy. Bill Belichick is like, you're going to come in, you're going to work.
Yeah.
I'm a highlight what you do well, but we're going to work on what you don't do well. So by the time 2 or 3 years from now, you have a Tom Brady, you have a Gronkowski. Gronkowski was good.
Yeah.
He was good. Gronk wasn't great until he got Bill Belichick. Um, Jamie Collins wasn't good or wasn't great, but became great. Teddy Bruschi wasn't good, he was great. He'll take you at where you're at and he will make you better. And I think to hear Randy Moss, one of the all-time greats at receiver, talk about how he regrets what he did in after his time
Yeah.
in New England. That lets me know that he had that realization when he was playing and he had that big head. He was like, nah, man, nah, man, nah, man, I want it this way. And then when he got done, he got a chance to step back and be like, what did I
What did I
do?
do? Yeah.
Like, why did I
Yep.
leave? The other thing is just about everything that Bill Belichick does when he gets rid of guys or he does anything like that. What do they do when they go somewhere else? Majority of them aren't successful. They aren't successful. Now, one can go and say, okay, you weren't that great. You played in a good system. They put you in great places to make great plays, and now you had to go get your money. But the Patriots respect that. I almost picked Pete Carroll because I think Pete Carroll is just about on that level
Yeah.
when it comes to that. They take undrafted guys and they make them great. They turn Richard Sherman, a former wide receiver, into a Hall of Famer. That's crazy. But Pete Carroll, whether it was USC or in the pros, has that ability to make you believe in him because he cares about you as the person. He cares about you. He's invested in who you are. And then he gets you better as a player. But I'm not going to go into both. You already got who I want. Dante, I throw that thing.
Ah, tuck it. All right. So listen, man, same thing like Jarrell said, man. As a coach and somebody that's been coaching for what 10 years now, um, coaches have a huge impact on kids. It's amazing the impact that coaches have on kids. Like for instance, over the years of coaching, I've seen how some coaches treat kids or how they act towards kids. Maybe because they're not as good, or maybe because they're not doing exactly what they want, and then you see how the kid responds after they jump all over them and you know call them every name in the book, and then you can just see how the kid just get deflated. But then you have other coaches that um, that encourage, you know, that lift the kids up, and you just see how they just flourish. So it's big, man. It's, to be honest, coaching football. I mean, it's crazy because I mean, almost, if you think about it, it's almost like teachers. We are educators. We helping athletes become either young men or young women. Um, Even in when you get to the pros, uh, you still have pros that come in that maybe they didn't have a stable, home life, and so you have coaches that have to kind of be someone that's going to mentor and that's going to be able to show them what it's like to be an adult at that level. So it's huge, man. But I do realize that when you are able to encourage kids or athlete, um, the, you basically open the door of just unlimited opportunity, because you don't know what that person is going to do once you do that, because you might be the only person that told them, hey, you're doing a good job, because everybody else around them is always down on them, and saying negative things about them. You don't know, what could be going on at home. I know we had a bunch of kids that, uh, I know one time I was coaching at a place, you had kids that didn't really eat. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, coach bringing some food for them and stuff like that, and you could just see how the kids light up. Like, man, it's great, man, because I don't know when I'm gonna get my next meal. It might not be until I come back to school. Um, and then on top of that, too, coaches, like I said, we're like teachers because we're with the kids probably more than the parents are. So we know
Mm.
what's going on.
Yeah.
Because we in the locker room, we hearing, we got our ear to the streets, as Eric would say. Um, but we hearing everything, we seeing stuff, things that little Johnny won't say to his parents, but coach know.
Yeah.
So it's coaching, man. It's an underrated job, especially when you are talking about, like, the lower levels. It's an underrated job, but it's so rewarding, especially when you see this kid come in as a freshman and he weighs what, soaking wet 130. You be like, man, he about to get folded up like a cheap tent from Walmart. And then he becomes a senior, and then now he's getting looks and offers, and then he goes off, and then you're like, oh man, look at this, this is amazing. So it's just been it's great, man. Coaching is awesome, and it's a very impactful job. I will go on this and say I think that the pros is probably harder. I know Jarrell said that it was easier. I think it's harder because now you're dealing with grown men that got money, and you can't tell them nothing. At least when college and high school, with you being an adult, and for the most part, they're gonna listen to what you got to say. But when you get to the pros, you be like, bro, listen, I've been in the league for 10 years. I played for Bill Belichick, and now I play for the Browns, and you try to tell me what? So I think it's a lot harder once you get to that level. Because if you get that thing right, boy, hey, they gonna eat you up. Man, I'm like, hold up, we got a rookie, we got a rookie coach, and I got 2 more years to play, bro. I got to get out of here because he probably don't know what he's talking about. So I think it's a lot harder when you get to that level. So the coach that I would like to play for or play under, I would have to. You guys both went football, so I'm gonna go down the road a little bit. Phil Jackson,
Oh.
and the reason why I'm
Okay.
going with him,
Okay.
the same, basically almost the same reason why you guys went with Belichick. I'm just not a Patriot fans like y'all. That's all. But Phil Jackson, man, you look, he coached the two greatest basketball players. First being Jordan, yep, Jordan. Second, Kobe, and then probably like somewhere down the line in the top 10, Shaq. Um, But you just see like how he worked with those guys, man. Like he came in, Jordan was kind of like, he came in, introduced, the triangle, and Jordan really wasn't feeling it because he was a ball hog. Yeah, Jordan was a ball hog. He wanted the ball. He wanted to take the last shot. Da 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 da. But he, being the coach that he was able to sit Jordan down and say, "Listen, bro, I know you're the best player on the team. However, you can't do it by yourself. You gotta trust. You gotta trust other people around you. You gotta be able to not always take the last shot. And to get into Jordan's psyche and to make him change from what he's been doing, probably what ever since he got to college, and saying you got to take the back seat sometimes. And he made Jordan, I won't say made, but he persuade Jordan to take the back seat, in certain times. And to see how he was able to do that, and then they win three NBA championships, and then Jordan leaves, and then he comes back, and then it's like they never skipped a beat, and then he goes back and win another three, and it's because he's a great coach. Then he does the same thing when he goes to LA with the Lakers. Kobe, Shaq, and they just dominated. And it was just amazing to kind of see how like all that stuff like turned out. How he could go in and just and get a group of guys to come together and say, listen, let's play together as a team so we can reach our goals. Everybody's goal is to get here. So let's get everybody ego out of here. Everybody, come together. Let's play together. However, it kind of did fell apart. It fell apart a little bit towards the end with Shaq and Kobe. But to get both of those guys in the room and for them to play as long as they did, and they were able to accomplish, you know, things that a lot of teams can't. It was amazing. So I would say that I would want to play for Phil Jackson.
He's a superstar whisperer.
I, I fade.
No?
So
Hey,
no.
speak up,
So
speak up. I can't hear you, Jarrell. Speak up.
Dante, when I was going through, I thought about Phil Jackson.
Speak up, Jarrell.
Can you hear me?
You low.
I hear him.
Okay, maybe it's just
So
me.
when I looked at Phil Jackson, I thought about him, but where I think that he fell short is I haven't seen him with no talent. He's always had talent. So is he for what he did with Dennis Rodman, what he did with those teams with those championships, that I can't negate anything with that. But the issue that I have with him is he made a already great player play within a system, right? So we talked about growth and we talked about, getting the most and all that. Bill Belichick has done that. You don't even have to like the Patriots, but he's taken guys in which on any other team they would not be starters, and he's made them into all pros. Bill Jackson took superstars and taught them how to play as a team, which is okay, which is great. I'm not saying that he's not one of the great coaches of all time for the job. I mean, you're talking about three egos, really, Jordan, Pippen, Rodman on one team, and then you're talking about Shaq and Kobe. Those are major egos. So for the NBA, I think Phil's got it. Overall, I don't even think it's close, my bro. But that's okay. Listen, a Florida State fan, I mean, I understand. You got, these views misconstrued, thinking that you might be the best team in Florida when in actuality Miami is. But hey, listen,
Oh
I'm a
gosh.
I'm gonna give you all the love. I appreciate it. You already know what it is. You're just trying to be kind to the basketball people. Listen, Florida State, Florida, rabbit chasing. You just got it misconstrued.
I didn't see you say, excuse me, that chicken was wrong.
Listen, bruh. First off, Miami hasn't Miami hasn't been nothing since McGahee. That's the last time Miami was even thought about. What McGahee, uh, Eric Reed, like that's the last time that we even thought about them. Even though they did get cheated in the game, it wasn't pass interference. But however, it, they're nobody. Miami's good for beaches. That's it. And they only got the best beach in Florida. It's in Siesta Key. So I don't want to hear nothing about no Miami. Florida State. What I if I recall, if I recall correctly, didn't Florida State just win some of the last 10 years? When the last time Miami won something? When the last time they won a game? I might well call Miami Dolphins. Sorry, Scott. Miami Dolphins. That's what the Hurricanes are. Miami Dolphins. Yes, put your head down because that's what they are. you you want to win? Put Miami on the schedule. That's what y'all are.
Wow. Wow, the disrespect.
It's the truth. Hey,
We
y'all might well be like a FAMU, Bethune Cookman, or Grambling State when you playing against a D1 school. Get your check, go ahead, get your tail whooped, and get back on the bus and go home. That's what Miami is.
Wow.
wait and see. Wait and see. We on the come up.
Sorry, mama.
All right, fellas.
FAMU do
We,
be taking them checks. FAMU be taking them checks.
Are y'all ready for the last segment?
Yeah, man, let's get it.
yeah, man.
All right. So the last segment, guys, involves you, the viewers, and we're gonna turn it over and look at a few of your comments here. So there's a couple that I actually want to allude to. So shout out to Miss Sylvia. She says, "Love what you guys are doing. Keep it going. Great job." Thank you, Miss Sylvia. We appreciate it. It's you guys, you viewers that are in here showing support. So thank you. Um, two other comments that Miss Sylvia said that I kind of want to expand on. So she said some kids are coaches all they have, and then she said kids need coaches. I believe that how a lot of kids has made it. You know, to kind of go back to the impact, one thing that came to mind that both of you talked about as far as how coaches affect your personal life. So my personal experience too is, so we had our head coach, Coach D, and whatever. But my O line coach, I would have ran through a brick wall for him. Coach McMahon. This dude, my senior year, I was supposed to go to practice, but come out, my tire was flat and everything like that. So, I'm just this 16, 17-year-old kid, didn't really know much about changing tires or anything like that. This man came to my house. I'm probably sure he wasn't supposed to do this, but he came to my house and changed my tire and made sure that I was up and running, so I could get the practice, but still made sure that I was still able to up and run. And that meant so much to me as a kid that it showed that, like Dante, we just had this conversation. It showed that he cared. He cared
Yep.
enough to come to my house and make sure that my car situation was good. And so I know for me, from that point on, like I said, I would have ran through a brick wall for that man because of that, because of him showing that he cares. Looks like Horace had said something when you were answering Dante about who you'd want to be coached by. Horace said your dad. Is that true? True, Dante? You want to be coached by your dad?
I was in baseball and we did win, but outside of that, nah, I'm good. Appreciate it though.
Man, so if I can kind of jump in, I think that is another dynamic that is just very difficult in itself. Um, it's so hard to do both, where you're a parent and you're a coach, um, because after you get off the playing field, and I believe and this is just my philosophy of coaching. I rip you in practice, I lift you up in games. Um, and I don't know if enough coaches do that. I believe that practice time is a time that I need to get on you. I may yell at you. Um, I may call you out. In a game, dealing with the psychology of kids, the last thing that many of them need is they already know they made a mistake, right? And then I'm going to compound it by yelling at them. That doesn't mean that I'm not talking to you about it, but that means I'm going to uplift you. Hey man, you got this. You can do this. It
Mm,
doesn't matter if
I
I
like
believe
that.
that 100% that you can do it, but at the end of the day, I'm going to breathe that life into you to give you that belief that you can do it. And I think it's so hard as a parent to do both at a high level. Um, I think we saw Rivers, where Doc Rivers and his son, but his son doesn't even play for the Clippers anymore. I think that dynamic is so hard. One, because maybe parents expect too much. Two, because if I don't give treatment to my child may feel a certain way. I just think it's a crazy dynamic, but it's one that I think if you get a good coach along with a good father, I think it meshes well because a lot of those same life lessons that you want to teach as a parent, you can actually show them through that sport. And I think that's in actuality what coaches get the opportunity to do is teach those life lessons. What do you do when you're down? What do you do when you're counted out? What do you do when you have success? Do you get, you know, in this gloat where you get this big head and then mistakes start to happen and then the fall starts? And what do you do when you tread water? Again, I go back to Bill Belichick. He's like me as a temperament where I don't get too high with highs, I don't get too low with lows. I try to stay even kill because I know that just as quickly as we scored 20 unanswered points, they can score 21 unanswered points.
Yep.
So, I, Horace, I think that was a great question. A great, and I think Dante wanted his dad to come up to see him be the coach. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Listen,
Pop Diesel, Pop Diesel coaching. Pop Diesel.
actually, my he did come up to the senior night, and I wasn't playing because I had just came back from my surgery, and he did want to go talk to Coach Houston because I didn't get in that much. So, but nah, I'm good. Dad was good when we did baseball, but yeah, football wise, nah, I can't do it. Couldn't do it.
Let-
Dante wouldn't have been running with them girls though. He wouldn't have been running with them girls though.
What girls? What you talking
oh boy.
Joe, just Joe.
I got a question for you, Jarrell. In high school, um, did your coach play any part in you getting signed to a college team?
Oh no, I don't even want to say it on the airwaves. I
Okay.
probably had the worst head coach that I could possibly. I had the worst coach. Um,
really?
the worst coach by far. It's a disgrace to even say that I was coached because I don't think I was even coached. Um, we had a small knit group with a few of us. I ended up going to college with one of them, and um, Fave, you didn't open up the can, man. You didn't open
Well,
up the can.
cause I asked that because I was wondering um how did you get signed? You know, to I know the injury history, but still, how did before that? How did you get signed to a major university?
Well, part of it was I was second in the state my junior year in track and field and hurdles,
Okay,
so that got a lot of eyes on me. We had a really good team, but in actuality, my best friend, actually that I went to school with, he's the one that got me kind of recruited. I had torn my ACL my senior year, um, and you know, I had lost some scholarships, but I didn't get much mail. Our football coach didn't give us those recruiting letters.
same.
Um, my my track coach gave me recruiting letters,
Wow.
um, which is a very sad story, but unfortunately, it didn't work out in one way. But I ended up going to school with one of my best friends. So yeah, sorry, Faye, my coach did absolutely nothing. And at that time, it was real hard. There wasn't these 1 day camps that they have now, where you can go and kind of show off your skills. You had to pay for the whole week of camp.
Yeah.
Um, and financially, we just couldn't afford a lot of that stuff. So yeah, how I ended up where I ended up was solely based on me. I remember the recruiting coach basically was like, "Man, like if you can do this." Long story short, I didn't sit out my senior year. I sat out the first 5 games and I played the rest on a torn ACL all the way up to the state championship.
Wow.
So he was basically like, if this is what you can do on a torn ACL, like I want to know what it's like when you're healthy. So that's it. That's how I ended up getting the scholarship that I got. So no, my coach was horrible, but he was great because he shaped me into a person. Because I didn't fall or I didn't succumb to what he put me through. I
Mm.
overcame them and actually became a better person. I'm an individual that you tell me I can't do something, I'll tell you I can, and then I'll go bust my butt so I can show you that I can. And that's how I am. If I was any other person, he probably would have brought me down. I won't go into some of the stories that he said, the disrespectful things that he said, but yeah, I'm just a stubborn individual that doesn't listen to the negativity. Put it that way.
Yeah. I'd say my experience was the same. Our head coach. See, here's what's funny. I don't know if your coach did the same. Our coach, if you were the star of the team, I'll say, he would help you. You know, like he had people getting looked at Miami and Ohio and all the big boys, right? But if you were a senior, even just to say, "Hey, can you get FAMU to look at me or somebody?" Like there was no help. I wish Jarrell I had that kind of drive that you had because I didn't take those opportunities. Back in the day, I didn't know about, oh, I need to record game film and send it somewhere. Oh, I need to, reach out to these colleges and say, hey, like I didn't know, I wasn't educated to this stuff. So, I hope, would you and your guys' coaching experience, would you say either this is something you have done with senior high school players or something that, as you get into coaching further, you will do?
Well, Dante, I'll let you finish up, if you don't mind. So for me, um, that's not 100% my expertise, but I do talk a lot about it. I have talked a lot about it, as far as what to put on film. My contribution of what I believe, is I try to work on kids of their emotions, keeping that intact, trying to keep them engaged. Obviously, the X's and O's, and how to promote yourself, um, as a person, not just a player, but as a person. Because I can't name how many times that, coaches want to know what kind of person is this kid? Is he coachable? So I always talk about that and harp on that. With Huddle today, which is a system that most teams use, it's so much easier to create highlights. And these kids are so tech savvy, at least at the
True.
schools that I've been at recently. They're
True.
so tech savvy, man. They already got their highlights 2 hours after the game film is pulled up. But I just think my contribution is trying to work with them, trying to build them so that when coaches do, they're asking the right questions, they're saying the right things, so
Mm.
coaches get a true vision of what they're going to get as a player. Because I think you can sell yourself as a lie or you can sell yourself as the truth. And I think that when you sell yourself as a lie, that's what happens when a lot of kids go into school and then all of a sudden they fall out of the good graces of the coach because you're not what they thought they were. I'm a person that this is me. You can take me, you can not, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to change. The person I am on day one is the person I'm gonna be when I leave.
Mm.
Dante.
Yeah. So, Faye, I'm sorry. What was your question again?
And your your coaching, would you say from the things that we've talked about that are we've gone dealt with our head coaching, would you say you're taking an approach to try to help kids? You know, if they want to get to that next level of playing college ball or whatever, are you taking an approach of helping them get there, or at least educating them?
Yeah. So, to be honest, that is why I started Athlete City Sports Performance. That's why I started that because what we went through in high school and then how basically like I had no knowledge. I knew I had to make tapes and stuff like that, but by the time I knew all of that stuff, it was basically the spring semester in college, and so all the scholarships were pretty much gone, and all the scholarships were gone. Coaches like, hey, we like the tape. You can come on as a preferred walk on. This and that. So when I started coaching, and when I started the business, that's exactly what was in my mind frame was I want to help kids or athletes that's in the same position that I was in and to help them because I noticed that not all coaches are like that, but you do have a lot of coaches that will demand so much from a athlete, and then once it's time for that coach to help him get in school, then he's nowhere in sight. Be like, dang, what's going on? But nowhere in sight. So um, I have definitely helped kids and tried to educate them on how to do stuff like for instance like the athletes that I started training. For instance, one of my cousin Dorian, he wants to play um, at the next level. So give them tips like far as, hey, listen, you know, at the end of your junior year, your junior year of football, you need to go ahead and start, top 10 schools. Write them down. Start getting in contact with them. Find out who is the position coach. Find out who the head coach is. Start doing some research. Start understanding on what they offer as far as majors to see if it's something that you may like. And then you start contacting those coaches, start sending your film and this and that. Start doing it early so then once your senior year comes, then now you kind of ahead of the game. So yeah, so I definitely do that. Um, but I remember this one thing. So I had this one kid. He was a good athlete, played receiver, good hands, nice speed. Went to a combine that we went to that we had at a college. The guy that I actually played college football with, he's the head coach now at the college that Jarrell and I went to. And so him and I were just talking. We are going through drills. He saw the kid. He asked me about him, and I said, "Man, great kid, good athlete. However, he does not show up." And he's like,
Mm.
"What? Doesn't show up?" And I tell all the kids, "Listen, I cannot lie for you. If you don't put
Oh
in work,
man.
if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, whether it's on the field, in the classroom, if you're not being a good teammate, bruh, I'm not gonna put my name out there for you. I can't, because
Dang.
that's gonna do is hurt future references. So I was like, I can't do it. And long story short, the kid ended up not playing football his senior year, and he had
Wow.
and the school wanted to offer him like he
Wow.
was that good, but for whatever reason, he wasn't showing up. He didn't want to do what he's supposed to do, and so hindsight, he played what he never played like a serious down and on the varsity level, and it's like wow, sad. But so yeah, so it's crazy. So yes, I do help kids to give them that knowledge because a lot of kids don't know. And then on top of that too, you go further than that. A lot of parents don't know,
Oof.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so that's the other thing to it too. So you got the players that don't know, and then you have the parents that never been, maybe they never played sports, or maybe they never went to play college sport as well. Um, and so they don't know everything that goes about. All they know is oh yeah, I seen this cat. He's in the top, the ESPN top 100, and all these schools just flying him out. Da 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 da. Woo woo woo. But they don't understand all that stuff because if you ain't going to no top school, most likely you gonna be having to pay up, and you gotta do this. And then they don't know about far as the ACT, the SAT, how if you don't have this certain grade point average, then your score needs to be this high, and so they don't know all of that stuff. So it goes not only to help the athletes but also to help the parents because it's definitely if you're not that top if you're not in that top 150, yeah, and if you don't know, it makes it real hard to get to where you want to be at.
Good stuff. Good stuff, fellas. Well, fellas, do you guys have any last comments before we end the show?
Man, I think the biggest thing I just wanted to say, if there is any kids that are out there, that'll watch this, or parents that'll watch this, or people that know athletes, the biggest thing is you got to start them early. The focus has got to be education, no matter what. Um, you know, they always say don't go to a school because of a coach. Well, that's crap. I'm going to go to a school because of that. But at the end of the day, you got to go somewhere where you feel comfortable. You're going to get a good education. You plan to graduate. Um, and then, obviously, the coach. I think there's so many guys out there that lose their way just believing just a coach. And yes, if a coach leaves, it sucks. But at the end of the day, if you put the work in that you're supposed to put the work in, you're gonna get seen some way, somehow. Doesn't matter what level you're at, you're going to get seen. So, academics, number one, overall, put in the work. So that way, on the back end, you don't have to worry about getting into a school and you don't have to worry about anybody questioning the education piece. Because if you're not eligible, you are no good to any college coach, period.
But yeah, so my dad, yes, dad, you were a good coach. I just could not play football underneath you. That's all. We won. Hey, we won the baseball championship, baby. And I know he coached at PAL, and they won underneath their team. Uh, I did win a couple championships, even though we didn't win nothing in high school. Shot because of our coaching play calling or playbook, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. So and then shout out my cousin. We did win Powerball first year, so yeah, we did that. Other thing too is if you are if you are an athlete and you're watching this, and my cousin Ricky used to say this to me all the time, and I believe it's true, 100%. Um, if you are good, it doesn't matter what level you play at. It could be D3, it could be D2, it could be D1 double A, and it could be D1. And it could be at the most garbage school ever. I'm trying to think of one. Miami,
Florida State?
for example. When you
Y'all
say Florida
silly.
State, it could be at the most garbage school ever, Miami. But listen, if you are good, they will find you. Um, and I've seen it numerous of times. When I was at Grambling, the quarterback there, he was really good, but he was just lazy as the laziest football player I probably ever seen in my life. But he was very talented. All he had to do is lose, I think, like 20 pounds or 30 pounds, and he would have been able to get drafted. He didn't want to do it. He wanted to sit there and eat Popeyes because he's from Louisiana, and he didn't get drafted. And so now he probably I think he coaching high school football now in New York. But yeah, so and he broke all the records at Grambling. He was fast, he was good, had a strong arm. However, he was lazy. He didn't want to lose no weight, and they saw him from Grambling. Then you also have my boy Dominique Rogers. He went to D1 school, D1 AA school, Tennessee State. Got drafted first round.
Yep.
So it's definitely doable. So just because you don't get D1 like you probably want to, and that's what your goals and your aspirations are, just get somewhere. Like Jarrell said, get your education. Because everybody know NFL stands for not for long. Get that education, and then if you're good enough, they will find you. So
Dang, that is a good message. Good message, coaches. I want y'all to see that's what Deep Third is about, man. We go deep into stuff and we here to provide you guys information. So I hope y'all heard the message. Shout out to everybody that stopped by this week. Thank you guys again for all the love. Don't forget to subscribe. Share this. You know what, guys? Really share this episode. Really share this. These dudes who have experience, who did go through some tough times, they shared their message to athletes. So, you guys really need to share this episode so that somebody you know gets this message. And they know, even during these tough times, that they could still make it happen. They could still make it happen. So once again, thank you all, and we are out. Peace.